Hello, Mouse Diva fans. So this is the 100th episode of the Mouse Diva. By celebrating this 100th video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my history with Disney. So picture this, North Carolina, 1971. Did y'all get it? Did you get what just happened? Okay, let me redo it in case you didn't get it. Picture this, North Carolina, 1971. Now did you get it? How many of you got the Sophia Golden Girls reference? If you got it, you make sure you comment below and let me know if you actually still watch the Golden Girls, which in my time zone comes on at 11 o'clock and plays until 1. Every night, or maybe it's only 5 nights a week. I can't remember. But anyway, so let's get back to it, shall we? On a cloudy spring day in 1971, a Wednesday to be exact, I was born. And shortly after, it could have been hours after I was born. It could have been minutes. You know, when you're that age, minutes and hours, they're all the same. There's no difference. But shortly thereafter my birth, the spirit of Walt came to me. And he said, "Listen closely, you blue-eyed cutie. You are one of my chosen ones. Me, the Mouse Diva. Oh. When you grow up, you are going to visit my parks and you are going to make informative and sometimes entertaining videos about Disney." Did that really happen? Or have I told that story so many times to family and friends as an excuse to go to Disney more often that I actually believe it to be true? That's a tough one. Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So Walt's spirit came to me and he wanted me to put these videos out there. So now I'm at number 100. So thank you, Walt, because this is actually fun. Okay? So let's get back to me. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, none of my friends went to Disney, whether it was Disneyland or Disney World. And actually, I don't even remember anybody mentioning. I don't even know if I knew it existed, that the parks existed, to tell you the truth. My only Disney connection that I had, like growing up, was the Wonderful World of Disney that came on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. And there was rarely one of those episodes that I missed. I loved the Wonderful World of Disney. I also got, and I'm just not sure what year, and I'm pretty sad because when I pulled this out, I noticed that Mickey had come off. But this is a 1973 edition of the Art of Walt Disney, and it is definitely showing its age. It's been through many a move because I've moved several times. But just growing up, even as a teenager, I mean, I would flip through this and just read, and it was just amazing to me. And because it just brought out something that we didn't take a lot of vacations as a kid anywhere. So this was like, to me, this magical fantasy place that really didn't exist. And at some point, I put in this, I don't know when I got this, but I put it in this book, and I really need to frame it. I'm going to see if I can get a little closer, let you read it. Let me know if you guys have one of these or have seen it and know. Thank you for helping us grow through 25 magical years. So, you know, where this came from, was this like for cast members, or I I've never been a cast member. I just don't even know where I got it from, but it's in pristine condition. In my book, that's not. So I'm gonna have to like glue Mickey. Oh my gosh, I've taped him several times, and I know he had the end was a paintbrush, and that's been ripped off. That's sad. But, and I know there's, oh, and then something else was right. Oh, it was a paint can. Now I remember. A paint can was right there. And, I mean, I know there's newer editions out there, but this is the one I had as a kid, and this is, yep, this is the one that means the most to me. So anyway, other than that TV show and this book and a Mickey Mouse bank, that was basically all I remember, other than later on watching VHS tapes of the movies. So obviously I did not go to the parks as a kid. My first trip to Walt Disney World was October of 1993. And it was just me and a friend of mine. Her grandparents lived in Vero Beach, Florida. And we're like, hey, we've never been to Walt Disney World. We've never been to Universal. And I remember we knew we were going to go to Magic Kingdom. And of course, Animal Kingdom wasn't built yet. And then we were trying to decide between MGM Studios and Universal. And we ended up ultimately deciding on Universal, and that was actually before Islands of Adventure was made. And the worst thing that, this is so horrible, but I actually remember Universal more than I remember Magic Kingdom. I know, it's just like take a knife and stick it in, but I just remember little things about Universal, like the I Love Lucy museum, because I Love Lucy. But anyway, that was my first trip, and that was quite a trip because I didn't learn to drive a manual. Neither one of my parents had a manual. We had automatics. My vehicle was an automatic, and my friend had a manual. And we were driving her car because I owned a brand new Ford Ranger truck, which would have been terrible on gas mileage. So we decided to take her car, which I don't even remember what it was. All I know is it was red and it was a manual. And I didn't want her to have to drive the whole way. So people, I am telling you, that is a vlog I wish that I had. Because she would drive to the interstate on-ramp. And then I would get in the car, because obviously there's no way I would be able to drive in a city. I would get in the car and attempt to get on the highway, and it was more like doo, 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 doo. I mean, it was just, oh, it had to been just hysterical. I mean, I remember a couple times where I really thought she was going to pee in her pants. I mean, she's laughing, tears are flowing, and I am like, don't laugh at me, don't laugh at me. And then I would start to laugh because my defense mechanism is laughing. And actually, or maybe it was me that was about to pee in my pants. Did I pee? No, I didn't pee. I probably felt like I was peeing. Maybe we were both going to pee. I don't know, but it was hilarious. And then when I've done a couple hours of driving, and then I'd have to pull over on the off ramp so that she could get back and drive, and so we could get gas or eat or whatever we were stopping to. But that was a story, people. So the next trip, so that was 1993. I'm going to interrupt this vlog to give you a speed version. I've just finished taping the regular vlog and realized it is way, way too long. So I'm going to give you kind of a speed version of what I discuss in the rest of this vlog. And then you have the option of listening to the full stories or just listening to the beginning part. 2007 was my second trip. First time with the kids. Only went to Magic Kingdom one day. It was either the day before or the day after Easter of that year. Stayed until closing. Next trip would be October of 2010. Right, I think it was like the 29th, 30th, and 31st of 2010. Stayed at Saratoga Springs for 3 nights. Flew in. All 3 kids went also. And that was the first time of going to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. Next trip would be December 2012. During that trip is my most magical memory so far of any trips I've been. That is talked about in that blog. That was all the kids. We were actually booked at Port Orleans Riverside, and we ended up being upgraded to Animal Kingdom Lodge. That was also a 3-night trip, but we drove. The next trip would be 2014, where I took my son and my nephew who had never been to Disney World, and we drove. That was the first time I ever drove solo from North Carolina to Florida, and that was a 4-night stay at All Star Music. That is the first few trips in a speed version. So if you want to hear more about those trips, more details, then just continue watching, and there'll also be at the end some questions that people have asked me over the last year that I've kind of touched on. So the next trip would be Halloween, like I think it was October 29th, 30th, and 31st. 2010, and it was the first time that we'd actually stayed on property and actually went to all the other parks. So we stayed at Saratoga Springs. So that's the first Disney resort I ever stayed in, and the kids. It's the first time we ever went to Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. So that's neat because I have that memory with the kids that it was all of our first was then. And it was very tiring because since it was our first time to all the other parks and we were only staying 3 nights, and we did fly at that point, and yeah, it was just because it was like ride. Any of the people mover we didn't even do, any of the shows. If it wasn't like a ride, we didn't do it because we needed to get everything in, and it was we rushed. We just missed so much. I can't even tell you what Saratoga Springs looks like other than the lobby and the room we stayed in, because we didn't explore the resort at all. Just so many things that I know now that because it was our first time and we were so, first like resort stay, that we just really missed a lot. Next trip would be Christmas of 2012, and that was a wonderful trip. That trip, as of right now, is my most memorable, magical moment. And that was when we were getting ready to leave the park on Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day. And we're coming around the corner from Plaza Restaurant, and we hit Main Street, and I'm getting, oh my gosh, I have chills. Can y'all see that? I have chills. And it was snowing, and it almost brings tears to my eyes. Just the Christmas decorations, and it actually being Christmas Day, and just that snow. That's just something. It is so funny. It's just something you just cannot put in words. And if it happened again, it would be great and wonderful, but it would never be like that first time. Because I guess we weren't expecting it. We didn't know that it snowed at Disney World in Florida. So since it was such a shock, something so unexpected. I mean, I remember the snow, the bubbles sticking to their hair, and they were just in awe of it as much as I was. That that trip was memorable too, because we'd actually booked at Port Orleans Riverside, because it's one of the, it was the only moderate that we could fit 5 of us in because we couldn't afford a deluxe. So we stayed there. But about 2 weeks before our trip, we got an email saying that they were going to bump us up, no extra charge, that we could pick between Saratoga Springs, Animal Kingdom, and I can't remember the other one, but there was 3. We could pick which one we wanted to stay at. Well, of course, Saratoga Springs was out because we'd already stayed there. So it's like, oh my gosh, Animal Kingdom. Oh, wouldn't it be awful if we got like a Savannah view? You know, all excited, like, no, there's no way they're going to offer those rooms. There's no way. So we call within 15 minutes of getting that email now, because my husband was at work, got the email, called me and said, do you want to do this? And I'm like, well, yeah. So I said, tell him Animal Kingdom. So he calls, and within 15 minutes, all the Savannah view rooms were gone. Like, so whatever, who cares? We're staying at Animal Kingdom. Totally thrilled. This was a surprise trip for the kids. They knew nothing about it. Just a wonderful, wonderful trip. And then the huge Christmas present, okay? It's coming. You ready? You ready? Go in. We check into Animal Kingdom. We get our keys. We go up to the room. And as soon as I open the room, I recognize right away. Oh, one other thing. It's supposed to be a one bedroom. A one bedroom. Right? Yeah, a one bedroom. Because, yeah, we were going to do... oh, my gosh. I can't remember. Yeah, it was going to be a one bedroom. So, which was great because that was still a bump up. We were all going to be in one room at Riverside. So this was wonderful that we'd upgraded to that one bedroom. As soon as we opened the door, right away I knew the layout. And I'm like, this is not a one bedroom. This is a two bedroom. Because I remembered kind of the layout of Saratoga Springs. And I'm like, they gave us a two bedroom and didn't tell us. So, you know, the kids are going this way to the room and Tom and I are going to check out the master. And then all of a sudden, the biggest, most exciting surprise ever. We step onto the balcony and all of a sudden Langley goes, I see giraffes. We got a Savannah view. They never told us. So they upgraded us while at check-in to a two-bedroom Savannah view. Oh my, it was just like a Christmas. I remember calling my mom, calling my sister going, it's like Disney gave us a Christmas present. That was so, so exciting. So, of course, every trip I'm thinking, oh, am I going to get an email? Are they going to upgrade us? And no, that's never happened again. So that was Christmas 2012. We were there for 3 nights again. And it was the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and we checked out the day after Christmas. And so anyway, since then, there have been July 2014, I took my son and my nephew because my nephew had never been to Disney World. And that is the trip that started off me going like with different kids or just the husband and I kind of splitting it off in a way. That July 2014, we stayed at All Star Sports because, of course, the boys would like that. We stayed for 4 nights, so it was the longest trip I had done at Disney. It's the first time I ever drove the 10-hour drive by myself. And now it's just like, no big deal driving. I mean, it is. You get tired after a while, but I don't dread it or anything. And so then the very next trip would be February 2015. It was a surprise trip for my daughter's 14th birthday. And that started, like, that's when it really hit me, like, I have to come more. I have to come more. I actually upgraded to an annual pass at that point. So I've only been an annual pass holder for 2 years. Now I'm going to answer some questions that I have been asked over the last year or so from different subscribers or viewers. So some of those questions are you a DVC member? No, we are not DVC right now. We actually own into another timeshare program, but ultimately that is one of our goals, is to become DVC members. It just isn't in the immediate future. Another question is, viewers have noticed that on some of the dining restaurant review vlogs, they've noticed that I'm very particular about what I eat. And that is that I do not eat other mammals. So I eat fish, I'll eat chicken, but just no mammals. And so some of my menu options are limited on where I can eat and what I eat. And I really don't eat fried food very often. Basically, the only fried food I eat is French fries. And that's not really that often. If I go out to eat, sometimes I'll get them. I never cook them at home. They're just baked fries, and I don't eat fried. Every now and then I'll eat fried chicken, as long as it's not on the bone. I can't eat chicken on the bone. That grosses me out. It's like barbaric. And I can't, the turkey legs that Disney sells, I can't even look at people eat those. I'm sorry. It's like I want to go, you know, just, it's like barbaric. I cannot, even though I eat turkey, I cannot eat it off the bone. Anyway, back to the fried. So if I do eat fried chicken, I just kind of basically peel the skin off, because I'm not used to grease, and it would upset my stomach. Like, even when I eat pizza, I have to take a napkin and like soak up the grease. Please tell me somebody else out there is like that, that I'm not the only like weirdo. But I just, my stomach's not used to all that grease. So that is what you have noticed, that how I'm kind of picky. But you give me sweets and pastries and all that bad stuff for you, yeah, I'm all over that stuff. Another question is, what resorts have you stayed at? So we have stayed, or I have stayed at all the All-Stars, with movies probably being my favorite. And I've stayed at Pop Century, both Port Orleans, stayed at Coronado Springs. We'll be staying at Caribbean Beach in 2 weeks for the first time. Have stayed at Saratoga Springs and Animal Kingdom Lodge. So those are the only 2 deluxe that I've stayed at. So very shortly I would have, other than Art of Animation, I would have stayed at all the values, and in 2 weeks I would have stayed at all the moderates. So what are my goals? Like, my future Disney goals is to become the DVC member, to stay at the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, and the Wilderness Lodge. Those are the 3 resorts that I really, really want to stay at. And so come on, Disney, give me some good discounts so I can book some of those rooms. How many times have you been to Disney since you got your annual pass? And that would be this trip coming up in 2 weeks. That will make my 11th trip in a year and a half. So I wish I could go more, but just being so far away, it's just not possible. Just want to thank everybody for watching, and I can't wait to film the next 100 videos, and I will see you at the parks.